Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1.
The rust is great with this one, with this whole one, the whole podcast
I
itself.
didn't want to say our names right off the bat because I wanted like a little gravitas, like after Podcast 2 for 1, like a small pause.
Well, we had a small pause. I mean, it's been like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Because, we're transitioning back into the office, which took some finagling. And then the office AC went out, and that was a thing.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Whole thing.
Because we weren't going to be sitting here as two, sweaty boys looking like, we just got done riding a water slide on your podcast feed. That's just not... That's not what you come to us for.
Yeah, 2 for 1 mountain water slide.
Yeah, we should do. Yeah, maybe we'll do some kind of 2 for 1 like strip poker at some point.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah,
maybe.
Are you any good at poker?
I'm sure.
Do you know how to play?
Sure.
That'll be a great episode. A great episode.
Really good.
Yeah.
The thing is, you think I'm really bad, and I show up, and I'm just like,
you're long gaming me right now. You're long conning me right now. Drake and Josh style.
Well, exactly. With that being said, my name is Donovan Thompson.
Oh, I'm Daniel Wingfield.
Go.
This is the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the podcast, right?
So they say.
So today we're back. We've had a few weeks here. The last episode we did was Batman v Superman.
Wow.
The
great
retro,
episode, by the way.
The retro review. Yeah, it's really informative.
You should watch it.
The original plan was to have a Snyder Cut episode right after that. And again, as he said, we've had kind of some turbulation.
And then his notes got deleted.
I'm
telling you, it's just we're just rocking and rolling in like the post-apocalyptics, the post-apocalyptic world of trying to get shit done while the world is not.
And clearly,
open.
my hair and everything else.
Yeah, you just made it a little worse.
I
That's all right.
didn't even check it before we started recording.
No,
I just had faith in
confirm
in the system. But other things moved around, so we sit back and like, hey, what we're going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about Westworld season 3.
We're talking about relevant things. Don't worry, the Snyder Cut discussion, it's still happening. I'm very much interested.
Yeah, it's
He's very much knowledgeable, and once he reorganizes the thoughts in his brain, we're going to get to it.
It's a lot.
We're going to dig in.
I mean, this is to be truthful here real quick. Typically, episodes start with, hey, you want to do a podcast today? We're like, sure.
True. But we're getting back to a schedule.
Exactly.
We're trying to be professionals.
Yeah.
We're trying to act like you're not paying us. But except also in a world where you are paying us.
Yeah. And also on top of that, we have a lot of things in the pipeline. We've even, during the pandemic, during the beginning of the pandemic, me and Daniel sit back and really we're starting the beginning of the conversation of like, what's 2 for 1 look like in the future?
True.
How
we got some exciting content.
Deliver more content to you guys. How we're going to do that? How do we promote ourselves, etc.
And just stuff we love. We're just wanting to make more stuff that we love.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool things. There's things literally outside the frame that are tidbits or like
I
clues.
Just looked at it.
Or clues as to what we're going to bring you guys.
It's behind something.
And if you're watching this or listening to this, if you're listening to this, then we recommend you always checking out the content on YouTube because
it looks better.
It looks better, and it is the best way to consume the content. Yeah. And because there will be more content coming, hopefully very shortly.
True. That is definitely more visually dependent.
Yes.
Some content that will not be able to be coming to the podcast.
It won't even be coming to the podcast.
No, probably not, unless we just do it.
Maybe. I just don't think
we might not just do it. And so you may have only one option, which is to go to our YouTube and check that out. Lots of exciting things on the horizon.
We'll just say this. We may be more than a podcast pretty soon.
True.
There we go.
A worldwide conglomerate.
2 for 1 worldwide.
Exactly. We're going worldwide, as they say.
Yeah. Anyway, today we're talking basically Westworld Season 3 roundup. Daniel, have you seen Westworld Season 3?
LOL. Okay. Donovan.
Have you seen Westworld Season 2?
I have seen 2 episodes of Westworld Season 2, upon the point that it swiftly dropped me on my ass in terms of interest.
Well, real quick.
Now,
okay.
Let me...
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was doing that on purpose.
I know you were.
I was. You told me a couple weeks ago, you were catching up with Season 2, that Season 2 ended up ending better than it starts.
Yes, it does.
And you stand behind that.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, does it ever reach like even ballpark of the heights of season 1?
I mean, it's also kind of difficult for me because while season 1 was happening, I was part of like the zeitgeist. I was kind of going on looking at theories sometimes, that kind of stuff. So I kind of missed part of that with season 2 because I was a year later.
Right.
So I don't really know.
There was kind of a being in the moment kind of thing with Westworld.
And I don't know how you are, but I think just like this podcast, you're listening to that, you're looking for other people to either validate your opinion or to bring a different perspective on things.
Yeah.
And I always look for, like, I go to certain review outlets that I like or even I don't like to see their opinions on stuff, and it kind of also helps
looking at you, Cinema Sins, you dirty bastards. You suck. You actually do suck, though. Your channel sucks. You kind of point out needlessly stupid things in movies that we all are fine with.
Yeah.
Fuck yourself, Cinema Sins. Sorry, where were you?
I like Cinema Sins at the beginning.
They used to be good.
Yeah.
But they have transformed into just like, let's point out every single thing we could possibly think of.
Yeah, and it's not even like, it's like,
let's freeze the frame.
That's not an issue.
And let's find something that you could not find unless you froze the frame and make a big deal out of it.
Here's a point docking for her hair being pink in this scene. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
arbitrary. Thing. It's feeding into the troll culture. Cinema Sins, you're better than that.
Exactly.
Come on. You are the Cinema Sin.
Yeah. One
in your heart is the only Cinema Sin that exists.
But yes, I would say that it's kind of hard to comment on it so much. I can't really remember 100% how I felt during season 1 of Westworld, but I remember I was really liking it.
We were in class together at the time.
Yeah.
And we would talk about it almost every week.
Yeah, I just remember liking like there was a mystery behind it and like the quality of it.
Yeah.
Season 2 it's harder because it has like this. It's obviously there's plot points that are happening at different points in time, and we know that going into it
because of how season 1 did things.
Yeah,
so they continue that kind of same like multiple timelines,
but they do it in a way that makes it even more complicated. That way you can't figure it out as easy.
See, that's annoying.
Yeah, they do it in a way that's like they try to trick you.
That to me is because what I do really appreciate about season 1 of Westworld is that the mystery, the twist was possible to figure it out. If you caught the right clues, if you kind of put the right things together, and there was a lot of people that did. I never did. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't trying. I wasn't one of like the internet sleuths.
I wasn't either.
There's like going on the Reddit threads and being like, okay, what did you catch? What did you catch? Whatever. I like just experiencing it, on screen. But yeah, like it was one of those mysteries that is so well done because all the pieces are there.
Yeah.
The answer is in front of you. You just have to find it. Yeah. Versus what it kind of sounds like you're talking, where it's like the pieces are there, but you would have had to flip all the pieces upside down and write a new message on the back with a Sharpie, and then it's like one of those things where like there's no possible way anyone could have done it.
Yeah, I think maybe it's possible, but it gets kind of complicated. But by the end of that's the thing. I don't know how much I can say or can't say. Because
for me or just for
you,
our viewers,
for you.
I'm fine. Listen, fine. Especially with kind of, and I know we're getting to it, a meager, maybe lukewarm response to season 3. I don't have any immediate plans to resume the show.
Okay.
So don't feel bad. Feel free to spoil me.
Well, I'm not going to go complete spoilers on 2.
Okay.
But basically, 2 ends with the park essentially being shut down to a degree. And also it ends with Delores escaping. Which is you kind of know that.
I mean, it seemed like that's where she was headed from the beginning. Like she's on like a death march out of the park.
And it also, you kind of deal with the Man in Black. Also, there's a lot to it. I don't want to get into it, honestly.
That's fine. But overall, season 2
here's
better
the thing.
than the beginning.
But here's the thesis of season 2.
Yeah.
Basically, the park was created for the sole reason of collecting data on the guest to make them immortal eventually. Basically, to create so the idea is that hosts are trying to become more like the humans, and the humans are actually trying to become more like the hosts that are more durable, that last longer, that are whatever. Sure. So Delos, right, is the company that funds it. Well, there is a guy named Delos, and he is the, like the owner, and that William, who's the Man in Black that we learned from season 1, he basically convinces Delos to buy the company, and he marries Delos' daughter and all that stuff, right? So
this happened when he was younger.
Yeah, you see the pieces of like William when he's younger, but then it's complicated. I'm telling you, it's complicated.
It does sound that way.
But
this sounds more complicated than Lost.
Yeah, but I don't know about that.
We need to rewatch it to know for sure.
But the thing about season 2, again, essentially, is that they're trying to become immortal, right?
Sure.
That's the big thing about it. And so, and you have all these different pieces, and then Delores' big thing is learning how to get out, and then also learning how to use that information that people have collected on all these humans against them, right? So it's like a double-edged sword for humans. Because
how are the humans going to become like durable?
Basically, you transfer the consciousness into like a host body, which to me, I'd argue at that point you're not even a human.
So now we're getting into a Star Trek Picard crossover, because I mean that's basically what Picard does at the end. It's exactly what happens. His consciousness gets transformed into an android Picard. Yeah. But without all the the buffs, without the extra strength and long life and all that.
And I'm being real loose here, but into season 2, also that you kind of find out that all the consciousness or basically the data of the host are in these orbs, and she escapes with like 4 or 5 orbs.
Delores.
And you're kind of like, who did she escape with? Like, blah, blah. So then you find out. Also, you find out that I can't think of her name, but she is the
black lady.
Yeah, I can't think of her character name.
The prostitute from season 1 that escaped with her daughter?
No, it's Maeve.
Okay.
I was thinking Tessa Thompson's character, who is like the person who runs the company.
That's right, yeah.
Turns out she's the host.
Okay.
And also turns out that, and it's not like the whole season, but it's just part of the season.
Yeah.
Well, it's not true. Technically.
You're having a hard time.
I am, because I'm thinking like how the story delves out information. Technically, from the beginning of the story before it started, no, but the way they give you information, yes. So that's really I'm the worst storyteller ever right now. But
that's
also,
okay.
But also, it tells you how complicated it is.
It does. Yeah. So season 3. What? Give me kind of my synopsis.
Okay.
What do I need to know?
So season 3. And again, season 2 is like the first half of it. There's Shogun World, and there's some other things like that. And you're like, man, it's kind of boring, because now it's more like just people just killing people and just trying to get from A to B. And by the time season 2 ends, you start figuring out, the larger narrative, why basically Westworld was created, and then kind of like all these cool little puzzle pieces of like, based like an afterlife for the host and all this other kind of stuff.
Like their consciousness goes to like a computer program or something? Pretty
much, yeah. And all these other cool things. I was like, this is kind of interesting now.
Interesting.
So season 3 starts, and now we're in the outside world, which means that we have basically the future. I don't know what year we're in, 2077, let's just say. Something crazy like that.
That's the year the bombs dropped in the Fallout universe.
Yeah. What's Cyberpunk? Is it 2077? 2077?
Yeah, it is Cyberpunk 2077. That's where you got that.
That's weird.
Maybe that's not now. I'm saying, no, maybe it's like 2276 or something.
So you have Delores, and she is trying to wage a one-woman war against the government. And it turns out that, ironically, there is a computer program called Rehobaum.
What?
Yeah.
What was it?
Rehobaum.
You've heard them pronounce this that many times, and you can't remember what they said?
Yeah, it's Rehobaum.
That is a bad name that someone wrote. That's like a mouth. That's like a word puzzle in your mouth.
I think I just can't spell or read, or listen. But basically, what this program does is that it goes through all of human history and data, and it goes through your cell phones and everything, and it calculates what your path will be, and it basically says, okay, that was your path, and the overall destruction of the human race, we're going to change your path. That way the human race has the best outcome. So it's basically like humans are on their own simulation, right? And nobody knows this, except like,
how does it change their path though?
Example, it will, there's
no one never knows.
No, there is.
I'm kidding.
It's like basically saying,
like you don't get the job you wanted or something like that.
It's exactly like
that
kind of thing. So, and of course, Aaron Paul is down on his luck, and he's not having a good life, all this kind of stuff. He runs into Delores, and she kind of picks him, right? And then it's like, hey, your life is being controlled by this thing. You need to rebel against it. And so you have that. That's the big kind of overarching thing: is who is in control. The main bad guy is Sirach, and
sorry, go ahead.
And he basically runs the machine, and he's like the one. He's like, running everything, and if we don't do this, then he's like a French guy, and he saw like a nuclear bomb drop a couple of years ago. He's a really great actor, actually. What's that?
It's not me.
It's not me.
I don't think.
I don't know. We have a beeping going on. Sorry about that. There was a small interruption.
It was his timer on his computer.
Yeah. So hopefully,
I don't even know why I was running.
Hopefully, you want to experience that because it's a Babycast. Hopefully, you want to experience that. Basically, season 3 again is all these different themes of being in control, what that means to make choices and that kind of stuff. I think the beginning of it, I really enjoyed. Just like I love the futuristic aspect of it. I liked Aaron Paul's character. I've never been a huge fan of Delores because she always kind of comes off as like just mean as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
But
she does, especially in season 2.
Yeah, and
in season 1 she was. I mean,
not
as much
exactly until she was. I can't think of the character at the end. She became
right.
But anyway, it's a fun thing, and it's a cool season aesthetically because you can see all these cool little what the future looks like, that kind of stuff. The score is really good, and there's some cool stuff. I just think that they kind of they heard the feedback from season 2 and the kind of complications of it, and so they went back like, well, season 3 we need to kind of simplify things, and I kind of felt like they
too much,
almost simplified it too much, just by word. The things, there's also only 8 episodes. I think there's 10 episodes in the previous seasons, and just by the end of it, it kind of felt like they just, I don't know, like it just didn't have a big bang to it at the end. It definitely, by the end of it, it kind of reshapes the show again, and you're kind of like, you're kind of like, okay, wow, where's it going to go now? And I mean, I'm going to watch it. They've had like a 2-year hiatus between season 2 and season 3, I believe.
Yeah, it was a while.
So with the pandemic going on, everything else, that might happen again.
One big question I have first of all, how is Aaron Paul?
He's great. I mean, he's good in it. I mean, and his storyline is fine to watch. I mean, it's not nothing groundbreaking. The thing is, by the time we get to the big reveals at the end, it doesn't feel like it's anything it doesn't feel like it's a big aha moment. It's just almost like, it's kind of expected. I mean, it's nothing like, and I'm not even looking up spoilers or anything or even speculation. It's just like, that's not a big, I don't know. It's kind of problem. Like if you're M. Night Shyamalan, people expect groundbreaking twists every time, which is kind of like a unfortunate side effect of making those kind of movies in your career. But when a show kind of builds itself on these crazy twists and turns and that kind of stuff, you kind of really have to deliver. And the biggest thing for me this season, which I personally am a huge fan of the Man in Black. I feel like season 1, I really liked watching William become the Man in Black. And then season 2, you get a little more information about how he gets farther and farther into it. And the end of the season kind of really paints him. It's really interesting. And then there's like a stinger at the end of season 2 that's just like mind-boggling. And you're like, what? And they don't address it a single time in season 3. And
that's frustrating.
It's like a really complicated thing too.
Well, so is Aaron Paul set up to come back season 4, do you think?
It's almost like he's the new protagonist of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
hopefully for his sake, the show does well.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to... Well, they've already confirmed, or they've already picked up season 4. And they said that the show would, no matter what, I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing, it would end at the end of season 6. If that's, maybe season 5, but it would end definitely by season 6.
Interesting.
So we have 3 more years.
So sorry, when you were telling me about the plot of season 3, it reminded me of a movie.
Go for it.
Almost exactly that plot. In terms of, do you remember the movie The Adjustment Bureau? Anthony Mackie, Matt Damon, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
That's basically the plot. Is that there is a bureau that makes sure your life goes where it's supposed to go.
It's exactly what the show is.
Basically.
Yeah. And
which I actually really liked. I remember really enjoying that movie.
And it's just them revolting against that. And there's some other interesting things too.
But this movie did that whole concept really well in kind of a 90-minute format.
Yeah.
That I feel like if you don't, I don't know. It sounds like they tried to do a similar idea without actually. And basically, this movie ends with Matt Damon doing what he wants. Like it's all about him wanting Emily Blunt, right? And like he ends up doing it.
I actually like that. That's a good. It's
a good movie.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
I know, but Anthony Mackie's like the main kind of bureau guy.
Oh, he is.
He is. Yeah, it's a good little movie. I mean, it's kind of it's an hour 40-minute.
Cut the check. You'll get that if you like Anthony Mackie. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but it's that same kind of argument. but they do it really well.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to me to.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you watch Westworld, me and Katie every week was like, okay, it's Sunday night. We're going to cook dinner and we're going to watch Westworld together. That was our thing. And it was only at the very last 2 episodes or last episode, we're kind of like, oh man, that was it. Like that was the big finale compared to like the finale of season 1, the finale of season 2.
Sure.
You're like, oh man, like that was kind of it could have been a really great season.
Just a anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Sounds like anticlimactic.
Exactly. And I mean, the production value, when you watch it, I don't know what's beating it on a production level right now. Like even visual effects and everything, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But it's
so
just.
The big question then is, are you there day 1 on season 4?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there just because like I'm invested already in 3 seasons. And I say I have faith in Jonathan Nolan. I do. And I feel like I am still curious as to where things go. There were some things they set up, like example Bernard, the guy who is the guard, like basically the guy who gets the host, or he's kind of like the rounder upper in season 1.
The white guy.
Yeah, I think it's one of the Hemsworth brothers. It's not Liam, it's not Chris, it's the other one.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, he turns out he was a host created by
of course. Now it's turning out everyone's a host.
Pretty much. Yeah. But he was created to basically like protect the host, right?
Sure.
In season 3, it's him and Bernard, buddy cop, teamed up.
Is it good?
It's cool when they're together, but then they kind of appear at odd times, and they're kind of like anti-Delores the whole time. And
so they're actively working against her.
Actively. And it's like it was
is
great.
Bernard still a good guy?
Yeah. He's like a really good guy. And it's like, it was just cool dynamic. Like, man, this is going to be great. And then it didn't really pay off in any good sense. The Man in Black stuff was even like the actor, I can't think of his name. He came out and was like, yeah, I don't like my arc this season. And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame
the guy who played the old version. He's a good actor.
Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, yeah, he brings a lot of like weight to the show, actually, like actor wise.
Sure.
It makes sense. Like why he would say that.
Yeah.
And I was actually, where they put him at the very end of the season, I was like, okay, I'm down for season 4. I can't wait to see. Like now, I just based on his actions, I was like, I know the end game of the show. Basically, I feel like I do. I feel like I know what the final confrontation will be.
Yeah, and you like the idea of what that'll be.
But then, the stinger of season 3 completely ripped everything away from that, and I was like, "Are you serious?" And like the Man in Black is almost my favorite character of the show.
Yeah, and he's the most interesting.
Yeah, and they literally
even just because you know his fall from grace, like he's a complex character.
Let me tell you what it is.
I don't care. Sure.
So his whole arc in season 3, he's in an asylum basically, and he's like almost like they're kind of reconditioning him, and you kind of learn his backstory even a little bit more, kind of
course,
and a little bit. And I mean, he really only appears the second half of the season, but then it's like he's like, okay, I know my purpose now. I've really fucked up. I have really fucked up. My purpose is to save the human race. I've got to fucking destroy every single host there is. And which is like a cool kind of like,
I like it.
He's got this cool, like, fuck yeah, he's the Man in Black. He's a Western gunslinger.
Sure.
He's going to fucking end it all. Like, I imagine then the show is going to be finally a Mexican standoff with Delores and the Man in Black.
Like, yeah, of course. And that would be the full circle.
That would come full circle, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It seems like that's the end of it. So here's the stinger, season 3. After he's got a purpose now. And he hasn't done nothing all season. The stinger is he goes and he's like, I know you hosts are doing host like shit. He goes downstairs and finds like these hosts are basically breeding more hosts, right? And then he's like, the Man in Black, another host Man in Black comes out of the shadows and is like, I'm the Man in Black, right? I'm all the bad that you were. I'm not the good. I'm just the Man in Black. You know, I'm like, I got my hat on and you got your your suit on, your jumpsuit on, whatever. And he slits his throat.
The original one?
Yeah. Granted, they don't show him actually die, but it's implied he dies. So I'm like, I don't know if he's dead or not. But they slit his throat, implying that he's dead.
And now they're just going to have a host that plays his role.
And there's like an evil host Man in Black out there now. And I was like, what was the fucking point of that? You didn't even need. And I don't get it.
That feels like a twist for twist's sake.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was awful.
Like, they won't see this coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're right, because that was a bad decision.
Yeah,
I didn't see you making a bad decision here.
There was just some weird plot things at the end.
Yeah.
And also some of the fight stuff. There's some good fight stuff, but then at the very end, the big fight thing, which is May versus Delores at the very end, is like, it's kind of building up this awesome thing, but then the choreography is just not cinematic, and they didn't do a very good job. And it's just kind of like, oh wow, that's not very good compared to like season 2, where like the choreography with the Shogun World and stuff
was really good.
Yeah, and it's kind of because the whole thing is Maeve has a samurai sword in season 3.
Yeah,
and she's anyway, it's just like it kind of falls apart.
So all in all, some interesting ideas that don't quite hit what they want to.
And you never know. Maybe season 4 will come around and like bring me back again.
I feel like we keep saying this, right? Like we said this about season 3 in regards to season 2. Maybe season 3 will bring it all together and make it all feel good. And to be fair,
again. I like the end of season 2. And then season 3, I like the beginning of season 3, but the end kind of fluffed me a little bit.
Yeah. Disappointing.
Yeah. But maybe, whatever.
Who knows? We'll have to wait for season 4.
Babycast kind of went a little longer than anticipated, probably.
It's a big baby.
It's a big baby.
Well, we had an interruption.
Big 8-pound baby.
Small interruption.
True. How can our listeners write into us, Daniel?
They can go to the cool little graphic thing right up there somewhere. And it is, or maybe down there. I don't know. We'll see where I put it.
It's up here.
Well, except we're not using the old format.
True.
So it can be wherever the fuck I want. It's bit.ly/241mail. That is bit.ly/241mail.
And if you want to follow us on any of our social media platforms, they are below the screen.
Or above.
They've been
just to
there.
fuck with them. You never know.
Maybe. But they theoretically be there the entire time.
That's true. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You have to play with it, I guess.
True.
So
I will play with it.
Sure. We'll mess with it. It was nice to have you back in a couple of days while we release episode 38, which will be, it kind of sucks because at this point we would have been a little farther ahead at this time.
It's okay.
But it's part of it. It's part of
It's not about the numbers. It's about the quantity. Not about quantity. It's about quality.
Sure. Yeah, this one's various degrees of quality in this episode.
Hey, listen. It fits because we're talking about Westworld.
Perfect.
Maybe kind of a letdown in the end. I know.
Maybe we'll just cut this episode in like pieces and like reorganize it. That way they have to like figure it out.
You have to put it together, figure out what we're trying to say.
That's how you make a show interesting, right there.
That's true. That comes from editing 101. The book.
There you go. So in the next episode, which will be a big one, we're kind of coming back with Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And we'll have a little bit of news to kind of catch you back up, and then hopefully next week we'll be back with the normal schedule. Yes. And we'll be cranking those out and
on a weekly basis.
You
will not be able to escape us in the future.
And then also we will have more original content. And if you like original content, go check out the 241 Comic Cast episode of the Batman. The Adventure Continues with Kevin Conroy.
It's real
voicing
real
that
fun
comic. Yeah, it's a neat little
good
thing.
little episode.
And maybe we'll continue that in the future in some form.
Just
anyway,
see, little buddy.
Maybe. My name is Donovan Thompson.
I am Daniel Wingfield.
And we have spoken.